Okay, so the walls of our ego can keep everything out and keep us safe. But by keeping everything out, it also makes us feel very alone. And the more alone we feel, or the more limited we feel by the walls of the ego, the more we feel a craving. So this is actually one of those chicken and egg situations. Because we feel limited and we feel scared and we feel vulnerable, we put up these walls. And then the walls make us feel separate from everybody else. And so we feel very limited. And so then we feel this need, and the bigger the need, the more scared we get. Or even if we venture out of the wall to love people and to connect, and if again we get hurt, then again the walls come up and again we feel. Because the very feeling of being limited makes us desire, right? I won't desire when I'm full. If I've eaten a big meal, I'm not going to desire food. Or if I've had a good night's sleep, I don't desire getting back into bed. In fact, when I've had a good night's sleep, then I'm like, yay, let's, face the day, let's go out and let's do this, let's do that. And when I haven't had a good night's sleep, then it's like, whatever it is, it's like, oh, maybe I'll just go back, nap for a little while. So when I don't feel I've had enough of something, that's what creates desire. So sometimes even with food, I've eaten, but I didn't have what I like, so then it still creates desire. Because I don't feel full taste-wise, even though I may be full belly-wise. So the feeling of full, then I don't desire. But the minute I feel empty, or that there's some kind of lack, then I just, sometimes, like before mobile phones came along, we were all just perfectly happy. And then mobile phones started, and then you started feeling, if I don't have a phone, how to stay connected? I won't get all the WhatsApp forwards. Like, really, we wanted WhatsApp forwards at one point in our lives. Everybody else is on anything, right? At first, I think it was BlackBerry, then it became WhatsApp, then now everybody's on, what's that? Room? Clubhouse. Then you feel you also have to join Clubhouse. So before I knew it existed, there was no lack. I didn't want it. All was well. Then when I feel everybody else is doing it, but I don't have it, maybe there's something there, then desire gets created. Desire only gets created when I feel I don't have, I lack something, then I'll want it. So originally, I decided I am limited and became this ego. The minute I decided I'm limited, I lack. What do I lack? Infinite. Because I was infinite, decided to become limited, foolish decision, but already done. So we're already here. So there was already desire to reunite with infinite. Filled with all these desires, what do? Put up wall. And the wall stops us from getting the very thing we desire. So then we feel more incomplete, which increases desire. The more desire we have, which we feel unfulfilled, the more sorrowful or unsatisfied we feel, which will increase desire. And the more desire, the more restless the mind is. The more desire, the more host of emotions we have. Because desire keeps becoming different emotions. Desire in one moment becomes, I'm so excited, I'm going to get. What am I going to get? Whatever it is I desire. Christmas pudding. There's a whole carol. There's a whole Christmas carol about you have to feed me pudding. Wow. That gives bhajans a whole new perspective. In bhajans when they say, come, I'm going to feed you, I'll feed you this. I always thought those bhajans were weird. But now then you listen to Christmas carols and they're also talking about eating pudding. Universal. Anyway, coming back, what am I talking about? I want Christmas pudding. Then I get excited. So what's the excitement? Desire. I get really sad. I didn't get. or it was bad pudding. It wasn't worth the calories. Then it was desire that became sadness. Somebody else gets what I want, desire becomes jealousy. I don't get what I want. You are stopping me from getting what I want, desire becomes anger. So all these emotions that we keep having all through the day is nothing but desire, creating restlessness of mind. And when we have these desires, it keeps going, and we have the desires because we feel incomplete, and we feel incomplete because we have the walls. So, down. We bring down the walls, and we will once again feel infinite. But bringing down the walls is scary. And so last week I suggested put windows. And some people thought, what? How do you put windows? Well, you just let people see glimpses. Like you don't have to show your full talent and personality and love. Start slowly. Show a little bit, then show more, then show more. Give a little bit, and give more, then give. And when we show ourselves, it's all of us, right? Our fears, our insecurities, our desires, our opinions, we share all of it. Okay, so walls come down, and that's the purpose of walls coming down. And loving through walls is very difficult because, firstly, the love doesn't go out, and then the other person doesn't know you love them. So you can be loving very wholeheartedly inside the walls, and it never reaches the other person. So then they feel they don't have love, and then all their insecurities make them put up their walls. Then they might be genuinely loving you too inside their wall, and it never gets to you because it stays inside their wall, and your love stays inside your wall, and no connection happens. Very sad. Because what we want is connection. Like that's really all we want. Yeah. And people will seek connection, and that's what the previous chapters were all about. Sports games. And you're just, what's the word? Rooting for the same team. So then I might see you across the parking lot and you wearing the same team colors that I am rooting. It's like, hey, do I know you? No. Why am I so excited? Just same, we're rooting for the same team, genuine connection. That's what we want. We want genuine connections. And you know, it's become like this now. It's become a sports team, which is so superficial and unmeaningful. And we look for it there because we're so scared of the real genuine connections. There was this really very interesting talk I heard by a young girl who had just come out of university, or I think she was still in third year university. And, you know, in America, they go to campus and they study in campus. And so you're away from your family, and sometimes you're away from just about everyone you know. And so she spoke about how incredibly lonely she felt as a first year student in university. And that's probably a lot of people. You know, first year in a new country, first year in a new job, first year in a new university. Very, very disorientating, right? You don't have your comfort zone, you don't have the people, your go-to people, you don't have, and everyone's new. And she said she went to a lot of events because universities know that people are trying to make friends, and so they will have orientations and usually pub crawls and parties is what you do in universities, but they have a lot of them. And then this continues every weekend. This kind of socializing continues every weekend. And she said she went Like, it's not like she sat in her room and felt lonely. She made the effort. She would go to all these events and she still felt painfully lonely. And we all know this. We've all had this feeling where you're in the room and the room is full of people. You feel more alone in a room full of people than you did sitting alone at home. Like, we've all had that experience. And so she realized when she spoke to a few other people that so many of us have this experience. And so she started this research on why, when we are meeting people, we still continue to have this experience of disconnect and loneliness, even though we're talking to people. And it's because we don't go deep. So what are our conversations? Hi, how are you? If you're in university, it's what major, what minor, what subjects. If you have a job, it's what do you do? And then pretty much married, where you live. We don't go deep. And so we do a lot of small talk, inconsequential. Yeah. And it doesn't fulfill us. And so she came up with this concept of big talk. And it's a really nice initiative. I think beautiful, where they did it in different ways. People have adapted it in now so many different ways. It's well known. If you Google big talk, it's pretty much that. So you can do it as a dinner party with the family, and there's big talk questions. So you read the question out, and then everyone talks about that. And it's not, which do you prefer, chunky or smooth peanut butter? It's like, what really scares you? It will be stuff like, I'm not telling a total stranger that. But actually, sometimes it's easier to tell a total stranger that. And then they did this in city squares, in cities in America. Like, downtown areas where people are rushing about. They had like this inflatable, and you just go sit in this beanbag, and for 5 minutes, whoever's there with you, and there's a question, and you talk about that. What's on your bucket list, and why haven't you done it? And so you're talking about things that are more meaningful. And so the connection gets created, because we connect when we feel what the other person's feeling. And we know we feel those things too. That's when connections get created. Even with movies, the movie resonates with us when it's something that, like, either the character is somebody we grow to like, or their journey is something we would either want to go through or have gone through, or somebody we know has gone through, and so we relate to it. So relatability. Connection requires us to give up ourselves. So the beautiful thing about this big talk, these questions, so like big talk questions, what is your greatest fear? To answer this question could be somebody's greatest fear, because they don't want to show themselves. What's the thing you think is the most important thing to do before you die? Like some people might have to sit and really think about that one, because they haven't thought about it yet. And then while you're sifting through your thoughts, oh, what would I say to that? It could be, it could be you showing so much about yourself. Like, is the greatest thing that I want to do before I die climb a mountain? Or is it that I want to accomplish something? Is it that I want to have children? Is it that I want to? And so even in a way that says a lot about each one of us, right? The thing that we want to do before we die. So, and most people wouldn't have thought about it. So while you're sifting through, people get to see so much of you. And so people feel very vulnerable to have these kind of discussions. And so these are the walls. We don't talk about these things. We don't talk about, what was your biggest heartache? Am I going to tell people what is my biggest heartache? No, I keep that top secret. Even if the whole world knows about it, right? Because gossip is there. So a lot of things have already known this one, this happened, this one, this happened, this one, this. People already know, but still we do not talk about our biggest heartaches. Yeah. We do not talk about our greatest fears. We don't talk about our bucket list. Sometimes, if it's non-consequential, swimming with dolphins, then I can happily talk about it. But say if the bucket list is something very personal, right? Be able to apologize to a family member and rekindle that relationship because it went sour, then I don't talk about it. That's like, I failed and this relationship is ruined. Yeah. So these are the walls. When we talk about putting up walls, we have to understand what the walls are. We don't let people really see us. We do small talk. And with the small talk, isn't genuine connect. And so then we still feel lack. And then there's still desire. And so we're still chasing something. And so the important thing here is when we love will fulfill the void in our hearts, but we have to do it wholeheartedly. So we have to love with our whole heart. And this is another thing we don't necessarily understand, because we love, but we put up walls. So we haven't loved with our whole heart. Part of my heart is feeling fear. And then the other thing we do is we think, it's an unusual thing that we think in this way. And maybe because with money and because with physical things in the world, if I give, if I have 100 and if I give 80% to one, then I only have 20% left. So if I love one person, then there's no more love for the other person, is what we seem to think. Like, how can I love so many people? But that's not how the heart works. The heart doesn't divide and love in bits. The whole heart loves wholeheartedly every person it loves. Which is incredible if you think about it. That I can love with my whole heart so many different people. Yeah. And the other beautiful thing about the heart is we feel we have to protect it. We really feel we have to protect this heart. Why? Because we don't want it to get hurt. Why? Actually, I'm serious. Why? So if I have to protect this glass, if it breaks, it's not there anymore. Right? I have to protect my money because if someone steals it, I don't have it anymore. My heart, if it breaks, do I still have it? Yes. Does it still work? Yes. Does it work as well as it worked when it was not broken? Yes. If your heart's been broken, and mine has, you will know this. You continue to love the person who broke your heart. We do. We continue to love the person. But they broke my heart. Yeah. But it still works. And it's still working as efficiently. And half the heartache is, you broke my heart. But I still love you. That's the problem. The whole thing is I still love you. If I could just hate you, problem solved. But no, I still love you. And so part of me is still a bit of disbelief. Really? Really? Did that just happen? But I still love you. And that's the thing, right? Love is truth. Love is divinity. And truth, by definition, is that which never changes. Please remember the definition of truth. Trikala tishtati iti sat. Sanskrit. That which stays the same in all three periods of time, past, present, future. Then only it's truth, otherwise it's not truth. Love is truth. So if I love, it's not going anywhere. I'm just going to always love. My heart, the whole heart, will still continue to love even the person who broke it. It's broken, but the whole heart still loves. So my question was, why do I need to protect it? And I know the answer, of course. In fact, I just said it. Even my heart's been broken. It feels horrible. We don't lose anything. If you really think about it, when you heartbroken, you've not lost anything. You've lost the relationship. Yeah, maybe. But if we do it well, we don't lose the relationship either. The relationship might change, but it's not lost. So it depends how you do the whole healing from broken heart. Yeah. There's lots of people, hundreds and thousands of examples. People who went through hardship, then they're okay. They can actually still love and support each other. So what do we lose? A little bit of our pride, which is a good thing. Broken heart makes us quite humble. Makes us vulnerable. A good thing. We're far more understanding and sympathetic to others. What did we lose? Our desire. We wanted it this way. We didn't get it. What caused the desire? Feeling of incompleteness. Yeah. Brought about by walls. The heartache is not the love. It's the desire and the walls. It's not pleasant. I totally agree with you. And it takes quite long to get over. I totally agree with you. But if you sit down and logically think about it, you don't actually lose anything. Because love never goes away. This is a really cool thing about love. It just doesn't go away. You can't lose it. How cool is that? You can't lose it. Have you tried not loving someone you love? I've tried. Doesn't work. Doesn't matter what you do, you still love them. Because love is true. Love really is true. It doesn't go away. Okay, so then the chapter ended with saying this unity that we feel with the other person comes when walls come down. And then to love, we have to learn these skills. Gurudev gave 4 skills: a sincere anxiety for the beloved, a sense of deep response, an ardent attitude of reverence, and a complete understanding of the beloved. There is a lot of overlap in those qualities. They are not clear-cut, distinct qualities. But we will see what Gurudev says, and then we shall ponder.
The cattle there is fear from storms. To the lotus, there is danger from winter. The mountains dread the thunderbolt, which in the past cut off their wings, and good people are threatened by the evil-minded. Beloved children, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Namaskaram. Have you experimented with love? Did you try to give love? Did you not feel a great wave of joy flooding your heart when you sincerely poured out your love? This is how love enriches our life. When we give love, very often we sincerely believe that we have given love, but we fail to feel the exhilarating joy promised by our rishis. We feel then extremely disappointed. We feel that the philosophers have cheated us. Sincere love, in a sufficient quantity, when given without reservations, freely, amply, godlike, can never be unrewarding. Joy must follow love given. How then are we to correct the flow of love from ourselves to all others around us? There are 4 basic factors in true love. If all of them are there, then your love is full, potent, and sincere. A sincere concern for the happiness of the beloved is the first essential factor of love. A mother loves her child, and she is, day and night, anxious for the happiness of her children. If one loves flowers, or a dog, or a cat, or the country, then that love will also be greatly concerned for the welfare and well-being of the thing one loves. Supposing someone says he loves flowers or a friend, and then forgets to water the flowering plants or help the friend in trouble, then it is not real love. One says, I love animals, but whenever he sees a dog, he throws stones at it, beats a cow, catches a butterfly, then his love is not pure. A boy says, I love my father and mother, and yet, if he disobeys them, brings sorrows to them, is careless of their difficulties, then we say that the boy is cruel, that he has no love. If you love your sister, you won't pull her hair or kick her or snatch anything from her. When there is love, we become immediately and automatically anxious for the happiness of the beloved. In the happiness of the beloved, we feel extremely happy, and to a true lover, no sacrifice is too much or impossible if it will protect the beloved. The boy stood on the burning deck when all but he had fled is a typical example of extreme devotion and love for his father captain, who ordered him to stand on the deck at the post of his duty. Sri Rama loved his mother and father, and so he was ready to go into the lonely jungle straight from the luxurious life in the palace chambers in Ayodhya. A true lover of the country will suffer, will fight, live in poverty, and go without comforts if that will bring prosperity and glory to his country. Where there is true love, the lover is never tired of working for and serving the beloved. A loving teacher is never tired of teaching. A loving mother never gets tired of working for her children and their father. A sincere lover of the nation serves day and night the cause of the country. Love and labor go hand in hand. Where there is love, labor becomes a joy. One readily labors for that which one loves with all one's heart. And one really loves that for which one labors wholeheartedly. Therefore, when you love, you must be ever ready to serve the beloved one and work for the beloved cause. Merely mouthing the words, I love, is not sufficient. In fact, saying is not even decent. We must express our love in action. That is nobler, diviner, compelling, dynamic. Let your tongues remain silent. Let your hands and legs serve. Let your hearts flood the atmosphere with love. You will then be creating an enchanting magic around you, so that others, however bad they may be, cannot but reciprocate your love.
We can do the second one later. Okay, so we can say it in a different way. In fact, Gurudev himself says it in a different way. A sincere anxiety for the beloved is basically you want them to be happy, basically. So wanting the other person to be happy. Love is wanting the other person to be healthy, happy, peaceful, comfortable, successful. So wanting their well-being, right, all over. When we love, not only do we want them to be happy, we'll work towards making them happy. So it can be small things. You know, it's like, I remember very often people will come and bow down when Guruji's eating, Swamiji's eating. Often the dining room table will be a corner, a rectangle corner, and sometimes it can be quite sharp, not sharp, but maybe distinct, like it's a distinct corner, the way the furniture is designed. And so the person's bowed down, so they can't see now when they're lifting their head. And I've seen Guruji put his hand over the corner of the table, so that when they're getting up, they don't get hit by that corner bit, which would cause, of course, potentially a wound. I've seen them both do it. Swamiji, Guruji do it a few times. It's like, obviously, they've been Swamis long enough, and somebody would have hit their head. And now, when a person bows down, they check, are they going to hit their head when they're getting up? Such a lovely thing, huh? It's like, it's such a small act. And what really like makes me think, oh, the person usually doesn't know. Because by the time they have stood up and they didn't get hurt, Guruji's hands left the corner, or Swamiji's hand. And so they didn't even know that there was a concern for their well-being by them. And I've also seen parents very often, but sometimes spouses will put their hand over something sharp, and that kid will royally bang into it. And so the gush or the wound is on the parent's hand now, and the kid is saved. So instinctively, a parent will do it. And this is physical wound, it's physical pain, it's blood, it's all of the rest of it. And we've even seen her husband indeed. The sari had gotten on fire. Well, whatever to put some fancy outfit. And so with his hand, he put it out. And so burnt. His whole hand was burnt. We won't think twice. You don't sit there and think, I really want to burn my hand to save her from, and then, okay, let me do it. There's no process. When you love the person, you will so instinctively protect. Because You are wanting their well-being. I've also seen so instinctively giving. Not even things that are needed. Like, of course, somebody is hungry, you give them the food. And I think I've told the story about so I had gone back to Australia, and my sister had 3 very young ones. And they constantly eat everything. These kids, anything yummy, if you even lift it up to put in your mouth, they're there looking at you. Like, give me. And you say, then you can't eat it because they're looking at you. So she had this long whinge about how she's never finished a full cookie, she's never finished a full cake, she's never finished. They always come and they always want it. And then, so I remember we packed them all up. All 5 kiddos sent off to the park. And I got her a full cupcake and I put it in front of her. I said, all yours. She was so excited. Then you know what she did? She cut it in half and kept half for the kids. I'm like, what's the point of complaining? You're not going to eat it all anyways. This is what love does. You won't keep for yourself. You just won't keep it for yourself. You'll give. And so like, of course, who needs cupcake? It's not even like I'm hungry, right? This is just something I want. I've also seen elder sister, younger sister, or sister-in-laws, family members. The younger one likes the older one's earrings. These are full-on diamonds, not cosmetic jewelry, $20. This is like $20,000 each earring. Slip it off, here you go, sweetheart. Wow. Why? Why so easily is that given? Yeah. When there's love, giving is their happiness, that smile on their face, their well-being, their success is so much more. Right? So much more. We want them to be happy. But not only do we want them to be happy, we will work towards them being happy. And it can be these small things. And then big things, parents earning, slogging, so that they can leave a house for the child, leave an inheritance for the child, leave a business for the children. And there's a joke, right, with Indians, that father will work so hard so that it looks after the next 9 generations. But of course, it doesn't get to the 9th generation. By the 3rd generation, they squander all the money. But that father won't think that. That mother won't think that. That grandfather won't think that. That grandfather, that father will think, I provide. Right now I'm here and I'll provide. And after I'm gone, I should leave enough that they are provided for. Even thinking so far as to, after I'm dead, they still should be provided for. In love, we will work towards ensuring the well-being of the people we love. And then people who have greater visions, right? People love for culture, love for community. People work so hard creating community centers, creating systems, urban plannings, creating traditions. Like if you look at Hong Kong, the amount of effort that has gone into, you go on a hiking trail in Hong Kong. That path is made so well, it's kept so clean. There'll be railings where it's steep, it's a natural mountain, but where it's really hard, they'll put 3 steps so that somebody doesn't fall over, so somebody can still, it's like somebody cared to put that railing there. Somebody cared to put those steps there. And here we don't have it as much, but there's other countries where you're going hiking trails, there'll be a tap, drinking water. Somebody knew, you're hiking, you're going to get thirsty. Put a tap there. Love, this is love. And people are going to need this. we provide for it. Somebody would have got hurt in a landslide on Hong Kong side during a typhoon, and now everything's concrete to avoid any kind of landslides. One person gets hurt, you already know there's a possibility of another person getting hurt. And so the whole planning is done to avoid people getting hurt. So love can be me, and I'm looking after me and my family. But if my family can get hurt, other people can get hurt. And so we can plan for other people also not to get hurt. And so, and really it's amazing. It's really amazing. You know, like I've said many times when I first came to Hong Kong, I didn't like it. But then you're not looking at the good things. You're looking at the bad things. But when you love, suddenly you start recognizing so many good things. How they look after people, how they're concerned for the well-being of, how they provide, how they, and that's another incredible thing about love. We find beauty. We find beauty when we love. And so we'll want to look after that beauty. Or we'll want to share that beauty. We want to make other people see that beauty. And that's the other thing we see when somebody is in love. They'll say, you know what's so nice about this person? He's like this, she's like this. And there's this long list of praise that they will give about the person. And you're thinking it's just another guy, just another girl. But that person's not seeing just another guy, just another girl. They're seeing so much beauty because they sing through love. So when I see through love, I see beauty, and I want to maintain the beauty, and I want to nurture the beauty, and I want to protect the beauty. That's what love will do. And so love will work. But the beautiful thing about it is that it doesn't feel like work. That Guruji protecting the corner of the table doesn't feel like work. A father slogging to leave an inheritance for the child, it might feel like it's work sometimes. But why will he still do it? Because it's not. It's for the child. It's worth it. Today in the medical field, how much each one is doing. Each one, there's so many stories. Taking extra shifts, helping each other out, being there for patients. Love, right? Love for community, love for people, love for purpose. And then even those who are not in the medical field but are supporting those who are in the medical field, or supporting those who are sick. So many cases. I mean, this year we haven't heard as much. Last year we definitely heard more, where somebody got COVID, and so now you're in danger if you go in, but people went in and they nurtured the person who was sick. Or came up with an innovative way of being able to still help them. And I can't remember what they did, but I remember there was this one story about the person was really old, and so if you left the ventilator on the door, he wouldn't have been able to carry it and put it in. And so they were like, well, we brought the ventilator for him, but he's not going to be able to use it. And so now what's the point? And so I can't remember what it is they did. I think they wrapped themselves in plastic bags or something, because this is India, where they do a lot of improvisation. They held their breath and they ran in and they ran out, but they made sure that he got the ventilator, and a really elderly man who wouldn't have been able to. And some of these machines are quite big, right? And they're bulky and they're heavy. And you think, how cute it would have been, these two young 20-year-old boys who wanted to do that. But it's still love. And look at the length to which you will go to do it. And you could have gotten sick. You go in there, you were exposed to COVID. And at some point, it doesn't matter. What matters? This other person. And all of us feel it. All of us have felt what matters, this other person. And the lengths we go through. Sometimes to buy a particular present, or to take them to a particular venue, or to feed them a particular thing. And then one smile on their face, and it was all worth it. And so love is this energy to do. When we love, it becomes, the labor becomes, the very word labor makes it feel like hard work. But when there's love, it's not hard work. It's really not hard work. Then even I'll see it in small ways, like so, our lesson plan. Right now it's a huge thing. We're trying to make all the Balvihar lesson plans online friendly. So finding new games, new ways of teaching, new apps, new this. And then I'll be like, oh, I don't want a lesson plan. It's so much work. It really is. Huh? It's a lot of work. And then I'll sit down and I'll actually do it. And I think, oh, we can do this with the kids. We can do that with the kids. We can do this with the kids. Oh, what's this app do? How can we use this? Which game can we do? And then it'll be like, I look at the time and it's like, why is it 3 a.m? It happens all the time. How did it get to be 3 a.m? And I didn't want to lesson plan, huh? This was me procrastinating. I don't want. And then when you start doing it, the kids will enjoy it. Let's do this better. Let's do that better. Let's do that better. And then I'll recruit people, like, you have to help me lesson plan. And they'll also be like, no, because they know how much work I make them do when they have to help me lesson plan. They're like, no, I'm like, give me some other job. And I'll be like, no, we're lesson planning today. Okay. Then they're also sitting there with me till 3 a.m. Why? Because when there's love, you'll do it. And you won't notice. You won't notice that it's suddenly. Please don't do that often. Please put an alarm. Please go to sleep by 12. It's the healthier way to do it. But at the minute love comes in, so when I'm thinking of it as work, I have the lesson plan. There's no joy. When you're actually doing it and you're thinking of the joy the kids will have in the class, or how easy you can make it for the teacher to prepare for that class, suddenly, it's no more work. Literally hours have gone. And then so love makes the labor less laborful. What's the word? Laborious. Doesn't feel like work anymore. Yeah. And it feels worth it. It's very satisfying. When I love and I work, that work is incredibly satisfying. When I don't love and I work, that work's very painful. It becomes very hard, it becomes very tiring, it becomes there's so much dread. So it just adds joy. It gives you strength, it gives you innovativity, it gives you stamina, and it gives you satisfaction. So first quality of love is work. But I don't love. Okay, then start with the work. Huh? But I don't love. Okay, never mind. Start working. Why? If you work in the sense of service, you start to love. Maybe the love's not there. But if you work thinking of the other person, you'll start to love the other person. I don't know why it works, but it works. Many times. Seen it many times. There's that very cute story. I've heard it both ways. I've heard it as an employer and a boss, and I've also heard it as a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law story. So new bride and daughter-in-law in the house. She felt that the mother-in-law was constantly picking on her, constantly not giving her a chance, and constantly, putting her down and insulting and judging. And so after a while, she went down to the local medicine man and said, please help me. I want to kill her. Can you please give me poison? So this was a very wise medicine man. He said, okay, well, tell me, why do you want to kill her? So she gave her list. She's always insulting and she's criticizing and she's a judgment and she doesn't give me any space and she's always there and she doesn't Okay. So then he said, well, do people know that you don't like her? And she said, it's so obvious. The whole village knows. So then if she dies, you'll be the first suspect of the murder. She thought, oh yeah. So the medicine man said, let's do this intelligently. I will give you poison, but we'll give it in very small doses. So it will take maybe a few months for her to die. And in the meantime, you have to convince her and the whole village that you really love her. So that when she dies, they don't suspect that it was you who poisoned her. A young girl, innocent, actually just upset from being bullied. So she thought, this person understands me and he's supporting me. She said, done. So that night she went home and already she cooked all the things that the mother-in-law likes. The mother-in-law was surprised. First day already, she didn't have any comment about the menu. And in this way, the daughter-in-law kept doing. Praised the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law was doing some work and said, no, let me do it for you. Why should you do it? And went over. You know how we do over. But after a while, the mother-in-law started thinking, this daughter-in-law is amazing. She is so helpful, she praises, she's affectionate. So of course, some reciprocation will be there. So about 7-8 months passed. The daughter-in-law came back to the medicine man and said, you have to give me a cure to the poison. Medicine man said, why? What happened? He says, I don't want her to die anymore. She's actually not so bad. I don't think I can live with myself if she's dead. And he said, but how did this happen? She was horrible to you. She said, no, she's not that bad. But how did this happen? And she said, well, I did what you said. I was nice to her and then she kind of started being nice back. The medicine man just laughed and said, don't worry, I never gave poison. I gave her multivitamins. She'll be fine. If we don't like the person, we actually work towards making them miserable. In the same way, if we like the person, we work towards making them happy. So interesting that we do this. When we love someone, it's instinctive. We do things that will make them praise us, that will make them appreciate us. We show them the best side of ourselves. And when we don't like someone, instinctive. We're so nasty. So, love helps us see beauty, but when we love, it also brings out our beauty. So, work. Even if you don't love them, work, serve, give. Let's see what happens. And so homework is give. Do 10 acts of service, small. They can be small. They don't have to be big. Get a glass of water for someone. 1 act. 10 a day for 10 different people. A day, of course, a day. Hello, easily you meet 10 people in a day. Nobody's in lockdown anymore. You can easily meet 10 people in the day. And even if you're in lockdown, WhatsApp is there. You can do 10 nice things for people. A day, every day. The more you give, the more you will get. Do. Anyways, you're probably already doing. Just do more consciously. Cool. Okay, any questions? Huh? No, actually, it's not guaranteed that if you're nice to that person only will be back to you. Most people, I think 80% of people, if they see you making little bit effort, they also will make effort. There'll be the odd one who's like a real karus, who might not. Or maybe what you've done to hurt them initially is so bad. They being nice to you? When I'm not being nice to you, what happens? Yeah, I won't be nice back. No, usually 80% of the people. Actually, with that one, 95% of people won't be nice back to you. You don't even have to not be nice to me. You have to just ignore me. 90% of people will ignore you back. If you're actually deliberately not nice to me, 95% of people will not be nice back. We are all very defensive. Default setting in today's community. Fine. Either I mind my business and keep to myself, or I'll hurt you before you hurt me. Is the normal vibe. But if somebody does smile, there's still a lot of goodness in the world. Plenty will smile. Plenty will smile. Even randomly on the street, sometimes, even if the person's drunk and they scream, Merry Christmas right now, lots of people will scream Merry Christmas back. There's still lots of goodness in the world. So you just set out an intention and fill it with love. Okay? Yes?
How can we love past, present, future same?
Is the love in the past and present and the future the same? You know, if you think about love as an emotion, then no emotion can be sustained. Then you don't love constantly. It comes and goes. But love's not really an emotion. It's more just who I am. Then it becomes the same in the past, present, and future. It becomes a part of my personality.
When we now love, when we die,
after we die, our love doesn't die. Because our mind and intellects don't die and our soul doesn't die. So love doesn't die even when a person dies. And that's actually an incredible thing. One of the reasons we feel so sad when somebody dies is because we love them and we miss them being there. And the love I have for that person, even though they've died, hasn't died. And the person who has died, the love they have for us hasn't died. Because they still exist and love still exists. So love continues, past, present, future. It's the essence in us that doesn't die. It's one of the most beautiful things. Like there's just no end to how beautiful love is. Literally, because it's infinite. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukhabhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamida Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Hari Om.